eventually you get absorbed in, and you are Sonic.
Hello, everyone. I'm Taylor Olmstead, and I want to welcome you back to No Repeat, a podcast where we pick 3 songs every week with no repeats and no do-overs to create the perfect playlist for every occasion life throws at you. Joining me are my co-hosts, Tyler Reed. Tyler, welcome to the After Times.
What? What? What After Times are we talking about?
And Sean Evans, what are you going to do with all those extra masks?
What am I going to do with all my extra masks? I'm going to make hamster hammocks.
Oh, that's fun. That's nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, that's right, folks. This episode is effectively our mission accomplished banner on the side of an aircraft carrier because this week we are declaring it's over.
Don't do that. Don't do...
Tyler, what was our challenge this week?
This week, we were trying to find the perfect song for the Summer of Reckless Abandon.
This is one that we came up with as a group on our Patreon exclusive bonus show, Billy Joe Armstrong's Middle School Notebook. Support us for $1 or more a month and you get a whole extra show every month. It's a lot looser and more ridiculous than this one. And we realized that by the time we recorded this episode, all 3 of us would be fully vaccinated. What we didn't realize was that the CDC would basically drop its mask mandate, the EU would reopen to travel, US airlines would all go back to full capacity flights. I mean, it effectively feels like the world is, if not completely back to normal, actually on the path, like taking steps forward, as opposed to standing at the edge of the forest trying to figure out what's a tree and what's a path. So I'm feeling very optimistic. This weekend kind of felt like the beginning of something new to me. It's also the first real hot weekend of the year in Atlanta. We got up to 89 today. The low for the rest of the week is 89. Like, summer is here. I'm kind of enjoying it after the long COVID winter. I'm sure in 3 weeks I will be sick of the heat and ready for it to be over. But I just really wanted to take this moment, with my pick at least, and celebrate the reckless abandon we're about to go into. I met up with some friends last night. We were talking about what we all wanted to do as we come out of quarantine. One person has already bought tickets to a music festival because he was like, I had so much COVID anxiety that I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off and just like immerse myself in a sea of people for a weekend to get over it. I'm not sure I'm ready for that much, but boy, I'm ready to party. I'm ready to get out and be amongst the people and experience living in a city among people again. I think it's going to be awesome. What about you guys? How are you feeling? How is emerging from COVID going? How did you pick your songs? What's up? What's the vibe?
Sean with an audible shrug. Well, I'm feeling significantly less hopeful. I'm definitely holding on to my mask because I don't trust literally anyone, especially if I'm even feeling kind of sick. I'm not trying to get a cold. I'm really trying to maintain as much public safety as I can. Really just don't trust most humans at this point. They have not given me any opportunity to. Anyway, this week I decided to, there's a few different sort of things I was kind of playing around with as ideas. A lot of them were the intense social isolation, my, like, feelings of, like, I want to interact with people, but I'm feeling unsure how to do that. There's, like, my overworking tendencies, and sort of like lots of different sort of thoughts. I was kind of like, how do I work through these problems that I have, and how do I get past them to sort of let myself have a little bit of fun this summer?
What's my feelings about this? Mildly concerned, I guess. Or maybe like passive-aggressive optimistic, maybe. Like, okay, so I got my second shot yesterday. Which makes me feel really good that I did a good job of protecting myself by wearing a mask and washing my hands and avoiding activities where you could spread the disease. It's not like the first day I shut myself in my house and never came out. Like, I lived my life. I went to the store. I work for a company that is a grocery store, so I go to stores. And that's good. I don't know. I feel like I'm happy for things to start getting back to... things start opening up again. There's a lot of people that don't have jobs and stuff. And honestly, if this is me personally, if you're holding off to get a vaccine and you're listening to this podcast, I implore you, please go and get a vaccine.
Please do.
Because,
Please.
like, hopefully you're really lucky and no one in your family passed away because of COVID. Somebody in my family did. Don't be that person. Like, if you can't get it, herd immunity is a concept that helps people who can't get vaccines because they have another condition with their health, probably. If you have the ability to do it, please. There's like, especially if you believe in like single payer healthcare or something like that, you should probably go get a vaccine because this is the closest thing that we're probably going to see to it in our lifetimes.
Well, let's hope not.
But I guess I'm just saying, if you're like a big advocate of that and you're not willing to, go and get a COVID vaccine, that's probably,
Need to reevaluate some things.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Life is complex. You solve that for yourself. I'm just giving you what I think. You don't have to listen to me. I'm not a doctor. I think a little bit of me that's a little bit, how do I say this? Like a little bit, I don't know how things are going to turn out. Like I think that we talked about this a lot today, my wife and I, that I think there was a lot of like evaluation shifting or like life goal shifting that happened during COVID, right? One example of that is if you come to where I live in Arlington, like 2 years ago, it was a fist fight to get an apartment here. And an apartment complex down the street from me is now offering you a free month's worth of rent, decreased rent. They'll waive your application fee. And it's basically like, we'll do anything to get people to come into our vacant units because so many people just left here or moved into apartments. And I think a lot of that was spurred on by the fact that we realized that we might not need to go into offices 6 days a week. I know that is also a disaster for some places, i.e. also where I live, where you're basically most of your economy was, or at least your like entertainment sector, your dining, your hotels, your entertainment venues was largely based on people who come to the city during the day and go to dry cleaners and go to restaurants and spend money after dinner and go to bars and restaurants. And if those people don't return, that's a big problem because you probably gutted a lot of your centers, your city centers, by allowing telework. The other thing that is weird about DC too is since there's not a lot of high-rise residential places, so the suburbs here just sprawl. So you basically have like a lot of people were always kind of contained to their suburbs in a little bit, and they just came into the city, and that's how it kind of like ebbed and flowed like that as people went here and there. And I don't know if there's traffic here is terrible, and I don't know if there's any reason to go into the office 5 days a week, but I'm kind of hearing, and I think there's a lot of local governments around here that are saying they're encouraging businesses to get people back into the offices 5 days a week. And I think that kind of kills morale for a lot of people, especially like this is me personally speaking for myself. I probably got 8 hours of my week back by not having to commute. And that has made a drastic improvement on my lifestyle. Like I love my colleagues. I like my job. I don't mind driving, but like the ability to be off at 5 o'clock and just roll right into my personal time is so nice. Like it's so more relaxed. I feel like the stresses that I felt before are like gone. So I don't know. So I guess I'm kind of waiting to see what the long-term effects of this are, because I don't think that and part of me too, I kind of cringed a little bit when Taylor and people are like, oh yeah, we're over this, is because I look at India and I think to myself, like, we're kind of ahead of the curve right now in America. Like in Japan, where they're holding the Olympics in 2 weeks or in 2 months, 60 days, they have 3% of their people are vaccinated. 3%. That's insane. Like, we have a long way to go. Hopefully everybody sees us at recovery and they're like, oh yeah, that's great. But I don't know. Guys. We live in a world economy now, especially in America. I don't know if I have my hopes up that it's going to get better, but I also realize that we don't live on an island either. So
y'all are harshing the reckless abandon. There's nothing reckless or abandoned about what you're talking about here. Look.
Reasonable.
Look. I get it. And I'm not here to tell anybody how to behave under any of this. Like, you have to do what makes you comfortable. And obviously, we all have sliding scales of comfort, right?
Oh, yeah.
But as far as the challenge goes this week, I'm trying to, like, celebrate those isolated moments of returning to 2019 normalcy.
Yeah.
Because I do think that, like, we have a lot of stuff to figure out. You know, like, I just got my return to office plan from my work 2 days ago. And I still haven't, like, sat down with my boss and made arrangements and filled out paperwork. Like, there's a lot to do. But at the same time, like, I've eaten indoors at a restaurant twice now. And it feels so good.
It is nice.
So good. And, like, all of the concert venues in town are announcing shows for, like, September onwards. And I'm like, as soon as I can pre-order tickets, I'm going to go see, like, anybody. Like, I'll see Toad the Wet Sprocket. I don't care. I just want to go to a show. I'm ready for those things. And, you know, yeah, you have to, like, do them safely. And obviously, like, if I'm going to a concert, I'm going to wear a mask. When I ride the train to work next month, when I have to start going in, I'm going to wear a mask. But at the same time, I'm so excited to be able to do those things at all. Because living and working in the same place for 18 months, I'm just like, I'm so sick of it.
Yeah.
And every little victory over that, every time I go to a new public space that I haven't been to since this started, feels really good.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to celebrate, is like the return of public space.
Yeah. No, I agree with you too. I think that's one of the big elements of stuff that I miss is like public organization. Like the ability to, you know, get on a plane or ride the metro, but there's other things that I really miss too. Like I refuse to run in a virtual 5K. No, I'm just not going to do it. Like, it's the whole point is to be around other people. It's a race. It's not Strava. So, like, I don't know. There's just parts that I'm excited to do that. I'm excited. You know what I really want to do? I want to go to a movie. I want to go and sit in a movie theater and watch a movie. Or, you know, like, that's the kind of stuff that
Hey, man, Fast and the Furious 9 is out now.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's
just what
it.
we always wanted.
You know,
Cars and family.
You're gung ho to like go watch any concert. That's not me. I'm still gonna be like, nah, I work. That's my money. I want to go do something that I want to do. But like, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to. Also, I'm ready for stuff to settle down too, because like Taylor knows this. When the pandemic hit, everybody was all of a sudden into cycling, which made the stuff everything just got so expensive, and which it's
Now it's all
Oh, yeah, every hobby is expensive. Used cars are incredibly expensive. Real estate is nuts. Yeah. And this is what I mean. Like, all of the economies are, like, hyperinflated, except that there's apparently a labor shortage. It's very unclear. That's why I'm just, like, when we talk about the summer of reckless abandon, this is what I'm talking about. Is, like, I am so tired of having to give a shit about all of that stuff. And the thing that I am so pumped about is, like, those moments where I go the majority of a day and then remember that we're not in the COVID anymore. Like, do you know how badly I just want to sit in a coffee shop and be, like, immersed in a good book and then all of a sudden look up and be like, oh, yeah, I haven't done this in 2 years. Like, that's what I'm after.
Right, and I think the important thing is really, we're not like, man, I sure just want to get in the mix with like 600 other people. You know, like, I feel like last summer, like when everything was really just starting to take off, it was kind of like, don't go outside. Don't do anything. And it really was like, don't even go outside your house. So, like, you're going to the grocery store once a week, if that. But, like, I feel like I feel like after a few months, it kind of was like, well, you could kind of do a few things. But I feel like this is, if anything, this is a summer where we're kind of like, yeah, we're just being cautious about I'm probably not, it's just,
we get it, Tyler. You're scared of airplanes. It's fine.
Actually, if you really ask me straight to my face, I'm not actually scared of airplanes.
You don't have to tell him anything on this one. I'm happy that the side-eyeing is going to go away. I feel like in the past couple months, that's really, since people have started getting like vaccinated and there's like no honest way I don't know how I feel about this, but there's like, I don't have like a good or bad feeling about this right now. There's no honest way to know who's been vaccinated and who has been vaccinated. That like, it's like if you walk around, like if I'm outside and I'm fully vaccinated and it was 94 here today, I do not want to wear a mask in 94-degree humidity. Like it's awful. Or like it was okay to exercise outside if you were distanced without a mask on. And the side eye and like running I would get, and like I started running in the street because I just didn't even want to be on the sidewalk where there was a chance I could run into somebody. I don't have it in me anymore. And now that I am like fully vaccinated with it, I got a couple more weeks, but like I plan on fully, like if you want me to wear a mask, I'm going to wear a mask. But what I'm saying is like, I hated that pressure of like, I feel like there's kind of like like Tyler, to what you said, there's like a feeling of mistrust out there that like, well, I don't know who got it and who doesn't. I don't know what to tell. Like, I don't know what to say to people, you know, like, I don't know. I'm happy. I want to go back to a time where we could like be friends again and say hi to each other and not have to wonder if somebody is like,
everyone's a danger.
Yeah. Cause the mask was such a political thing. It was politicized, and then it became, you know, when you weren't vaccinated, you don't have to have it and blah, 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 blah. But like, yeah, I guess that's what I want. You know, I don't know. If I'm like walking around in the morning, smile at people and stuff, you know.
I don't want to be perceived, so I'm perfectly fine continuing to wear a mask unless it's like just too damn hot.
No, that's fine too. I like that, but
So let's get into some songs. I think because we're all at varying degrees of comfort, it probably makes sense to go through these songs in the kind of degrees of celebratory nature that we're working with here.
Okay, that's a very arbitrary. Okay.
And based on our conversation that we just had and the songs that we've picked, I think Sean is kind of coming across as maybe the most like macro guarded, so maybe he should go first.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah, sure. All right. So this week I chose "Personal Jesus" by Depeche Mode. So if you're a millennial, you're probably the first time you heard this song might have been like Marilyn Manson's cover of it. I kind of looked around for some other covers. I don't think Johnny Cash did a cover of it, but I don't think there's really been like anybody who's really done as a prolific cover as Marilyn Manson. Wow. I think I chose this one for... This was hard for me. I'm going to say that too. This pick was really hard. I went through a lot of songs. Nothing really fit the bill quite right. But I think the reason I had decided on Personal Jesus was because I think there's... For the wild summer that will be post-COVID in 2021, if that's the correct term, post-COVID, I think there's something to this. I think there's something to the spirituality of like being that person for yourself, whether that be like positive or negative, right? So if you're going to like, well, seize the day, carpe diem kind of thing, you know, there it is. There's your own thing. If you're going to be more guarded, I think having that confiding in something, having this, there's like a, I don't know how to say it, like a geist of post-COVID, right?
Okay.
That pervades. And I thought Personal Jesus was a really good way for me to describe in a very short term, like what the geist of post-COVID will be like. So yeah, Personal Jesus, Depeche Mode, classic song, classic band.
See, I like this pick on multiple levels because I think you're right. It fits the like emotional tone of the moment very well, in that it's like you got to be your own COVID recovery to a certain degree. And like, yes, it would be lovely if our federal government did more to like make COVID recovery more equitable or systemic or in any way effective, but we know that that's not going to happen. And so the best you can do on some levels is what they want you to do, which is to like take it into your own hands and do what you can. And that's not to say that like, you know, people losing their jobs is their own fault. It's more that when you wake up in the morning, regardless of how this has affected you, the only person who's going to really care about how you respond to the next 3 months is you, which is so different from how it's been. Like Sean said, it's the side eye of it all. It's, not wanting to post a picture of your family Christmas because you're afraid that people are going to judge you for going to Christmas, and not realizing that you did 14 days of quarantine before you went, and everybody who's there is also doing quarantine. We can get away from all of that now, and you can go do what's comfortable for you. And if people want to give you side eye, you don't need that energy in 2021. I think the other level that this pick works on is that this song is real sexy. This song
shouldn't be that sexy of a song, but you're right. It really is a sexy song.
It's sexy. It's got that deep breathing. It's got that guitar line that is just so sultry and swaggering. This is also a little bit of a Western song, and it's got a Western themed music video, call back to last episode. So I feel like there are people out there who, they're ready to get back out there. COVID is over. The virus-imposed dry spell is ending, and they're ready to go meet some people. And look, I'm in a committed relationship. I have been very lucky in that sense. My boyfriend and I moved in together during the pandemic, and it's been really great for us. A lot of people didn't have that. And so if you're coming out of a year and a half, 2 years of isolation, and you need some companionship, Personal Jesus is here for you. Reach out and touch faith.
Right, and that's kind of like how I was kind of reading it too, where it's sort of you got to do what you got to do, and you sort of got to you got to do what makes you happy, and it's you can't really I was sort of battling, this is sort of I feel like this song sort of was one of the paths I almost wanted to take, where it's sort of where it's I feel like we've been kind of been looking out for everyone as a whole, and or as a sort of solitary individual, I feel like I've kind of been looking out for myself, not looking out for looking out for me as much, but looking out for our collective good. And so I feel in a sense of reckless abandon, of sort of just being I just want to do what I want to do. I just want to enjoy myself. I want to sort of it's some catharsis, right? You're I just want to sit at a coffee shop, drink a lot, or I want to, but there's a lot of levels of personal freedom that people can have, and I would say mine is very timid relatively. But no, I actually had not. I don't know if I had fully heard this song before, although it's been used as a sound clip on VH1 stuff all the time. And since I was a good Christian boy, I was afraid of Marilyn Manson growing up, so I didn't. So I didn't really listen to even the cover of this, but I'm surprisingly actually in love with this song, and I kind of now want to because has Depeche Mode been on this podcast before?
No, and it's amazing to me that you haven't listened to them with your love of all things synth.
Because I picked through some other songs. I'm oh, I've heard these before. I just don't think I put them together. And I'm
yeah.
Oh, I love this. Because right, this is some proto dark synth. You're sort
it's
of digital cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's smooth. It's sexy. It's certainly going to give me some empowerment when I try to make my move.
I like what you said, Tyler, about the spectrums of reckless summer.
Yeah. I'm not doing lines of coke, right? At a rave or whatever, right?
He's going to 7-Eleven without a mask, and he's going to get some regular coffee and pay in cash.
He's going to get a Slurpee, and he's going to drink it on the walk home.
Right.
Yeah.
Reckless abandon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though, because that literally feels dangerous. It's so dumb. I can't do that. I want to hold cash. I was afraid of cash for so long. Ryan and I tossed around a $20 bill back and forth. We're I'm never gonna use this because who are we gonna give this to?
Maybe we should have let Tyler go first.
Yeah, I know.
I'm starting to get this
I think you were thinking that I was gonna be Mr. Downer, but
we only ever see him in this one room. Is it a bunker? I'm a little concerned.
I don't know if I have actually left this room.
Oh, Lord. Well, Tyler, why don't you go next then? Because I'm concerned for you.
This week I chose Career Boy by Dorian Electra.
That's my superpower. I'm a career boy. Career boy. You really got me working overtime. Yeah. Career boy. And you know I got that one track mind. Even after I get what I want, I can see, baby, that it's lonely at the top. Yeah. Career boy.
And boy, were you both right. Because one of my like primary like tenets and like really like big like ideas I was trying to like chase was like, I have basically spent this entire like basically since November 2019 being like a state of like sort of working but and like never really giving myself like a personal break, never like I don't know how to have fun. I literally don't know how to just like take it easy. And so like what's really fun about this song is that it's sort of like playing up the hyper masculinity of like overworking and like the idea of like hustle culture and just sort of like putting it to such an extreme that you're like, all right, I'll turn off my computer, I'll go outside. All right, you got me. Fine. Cuz it's just like it's like you're a naughty boy. You love staying up all night and working, don't you? I'm like, no, I don't. I don't love it. I want to play video games, but I can't let myself do it. and so, I mean, Dorian sort of plays in this space all the time, really challenges a lot of sort of like traditional like masculine ideas and sort of like plays with them and really sort of like makes you realize like kind of how stupid some of this stuff is. And so I think like just on top of being like an interesting like commentary on like overwork culture and stuff like that, it's also just kind of a bop and like that hyper pop sound that just can fit into just any like club playlist. So like half is the reckless abandon where I just decide to I'm not gonna touch the computer at all today. Maybe even hang out with someone I don't know. Crazy. And the other half of being of summer, the summer jam is the electro hyperpop part of it.
See, I really thought, like, based on your pick, that you were ready to party, and now I'm hearing that you're, like, such an indoor cat now that I'm like...
I might be!
I don't know. This song, like, it makes sense to me, but it's, like, not what I expected. Because when I hear this song, you know, I think of the, like, mental image of Dorian and Electra I have, which is, like, a very transgressive non-binary performance artist who's like either like headlining Pride or doing some kind of weird publicity stunt, and that's like the only two spaces I ever see them in, and that's not a bad thing. Like, I love their work and I think that they're doing incredible stuff, but when you picked this I was like, okay, Tyler's finally ready to go outside again. He's gonna like get on the floor and like exorcise these workaholic demons from his body.
Maybe I will.
But this seems like an aspirational thing for you, that you're like, you want to do it, that you're just not there yet. Like, is that what it is?
Yeah.
You've got some repression going on here. Sorry, Sean, would you like to psychoanalyze? I realize I stole your bit.
I think
I realized this was going to be one of these challenges. I knew it was going to be therapy no matter what. Oh.
I think Tyler's a little excited.
Yeah, I think he's afraid to be excited.
I don't think he wants to say it, yeah, but I think he's a little excited.
He doesn't want to be called wrong on the internet, which is why he's not expressing his true excitement.
Listen, I'm ready to drink a $5 gin and tonic. That's at a show for no reason. For a band that I don't know.
A $5 for a gin and tonic?
I don't.
Where'd you get that at?
Yeah, where are you drinking that there are $5 gin and tonics, and how do I get invited?
It might be more.
Right, exactly. What's the secret knock?
$10? It's well. Let's take it easy.
Even then.
Still.
Whatever. The money amount is...
It's one banana, Michael. How much could it cost?
So, stepping away from the psychoanalyzing Tyler for a second, this song is a jam. From the moment that I heard this song, I was like, dear God, this is amazing. Like, I love
and this is the opening track
it.
on this album too.
Oh, I kept listening to stuff that Dorian does. Their stuff is so good. I was like, how is this everything so good? Like, I don't know. Thank you for putting Dorian into my life because they're amazing, and I feel really stupid for not knowing who they are because they're so good. Oh my god, this is so good. We all have kind of a synth theme going for this summer, which probably could be like analyzed a little bit more. I didn't look at any of your guys' before I put mine in, just for the record, but like, yeah, this is a great song. I think you're excited too. I think you're a little bit pumped. He wants to be back out there, you know. I heard on the news, on the morning news, because I'm apparently 100, that that people who are vaccinated and put it on their Tinder site or whatever, or their dating profile, get like 14% more swipes in the affirmative. So I don't know. Maybe it just shows that you're ready to go.
See, this is what I mean. I think Tyler's ready to go out there and be career boy. Like, and here's the thing about this. Like, to point to Sean's discussion earlier, all of the places in our downtowns that have been closed because people aren't going back to the office, those places are going to be precious resources now. Like, do you realize what the after work happy hours are going to be like this summer? Because nobody's been able to do that in 2 years. Like, I don't even spend that much time with my coworkers, but if anybody invites me out for a drink after work, I'm going. I feel like that's the energy this song is giving me. It's like, you haven't done civilized drinks with another human in so long that you become this, like, Dorian Electra, like, fetishized office sex slave thing.
I was gonna say, this is kind of kinky. Depeche Mode is like, person uses a little kinky, but this is like no hiding the kinkiness here. That, like,
it's like you don't know how to restrain yourself in public anymore.
Like, career boy sounds like a term that, as a like cis white male, I'm like not into. Like, I just read it as like, oh yeah, we're going golfing.
It's not for you.
Right, exactly. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a career boy, and like everybody kind of looks at me like, does he know?
The career boy is smashing a coffee pot against your face and.
Shit. Okay, so talking about their videos, when I watched another one of their videos, the self-flagellation thing happens in a couple of videos, and the bottle smash and the coffee smash. There's a lot of glass smashing against their face. I was like, wow, I'm getting some reoccurring smashing and flagellation themes here, which is real hot, Tyler. I mean, you got to do you, man. If that's what the career boy life is, I mean, I'm not even gonna say that it's not my thing because I don't know, but like, you know. Hey.
Tyler, do you want somebody to stomp your stamps? It's okay. This is a safe space.
No comment.
He just
we talked about this in our drag race episode. It's fine.
Well, I guess I'll take Tyler out of the hot seat and I can go next.
Oh, thank God. I'm already embarrassed.
So hot.
Don't worry. I'll still keep it warm for you. This week I chose Maria, We've Lost Dancing by Fred Again and the Blessed Madonna.
We've lost dancing. If I can live through this, we've lost dancing. What comes next will be marvelous.
Fred Again is a dance music producer from the United Kingdom. He collaborated on this track with the Blessed Madonna, who is also a dance music producer from Kentucky. And this is part of the project that Fred did during quarantine called Actual Life, where he took recordings from past nights out and from FaceTime calls with his friends and took actual conversations with people that he missed and turned them into samples for dance songs. And so, of course, the Blessed Madonna is also a DJ, and they did this, like, industry panel where they were on FaceTime together and, like, talking about the state of dance music without clubs because of the pandemic. And Fred chops up this piece where Maria, the Blessed Madonna, is talking about how we've lost hugging friends, we've lost space, and we've lost dancing. And the track opens with that and just builds into this, like, huge euphoria of like stuttering synths and 90s house drums, and then you finally hear Maria say, if I can make it through these next 6 months, what comes next will be marvelous. And the first time I heard that, I was like, this is it. This is the one. If this song comes on anywhere that I am in the next 18 months, I'm going to lose it. Like, it just feels like how I feel coming out of this. I'm like, we lost so much. And I'm so excited to just not have to think about that for like 3.5 minutes. And this synth line is so simple, but so big that like, it just makes you feel the dance floor again. And I'm so excited to just like be at a big mass of people and not worry about it. And just get that like Maria vocal coming in there, just like all chopped up saying we've lost dancing. And then you get this little bit of a snippet from this guy Carlos, who's on a different track, who says we gon' make it through. And like every time he says that, I feel like I'm just like pushing through the hardest part of it, that I'm like, yes, we gon' make it through. We did it. This song makes me so pumped. I'm just so like, I know not everything is perfect. I know that we have a long way to go, but we lost dancing and it's coming back. And that feels so good. It's going to be marvelous.
Let's see. Where do I start? I guess I should make a confession up front.
Uh-oh.
Until, I guess it would be Friday, I had never seen the movie Footloose.
The what?
So as soon as I... Have you seen Footloose?
Oh, Footloose. I didn't
Footloose.
hear what word she said.
Okay, yeah. I had not seen Footloose all the way through, and it's hilarious that this song is also like about there being no dancing, because that was like one of the funnier things that happened during COVID, and it actually was pretty recently in DC. They actually, for like a bunch of weddings, or for like a period of time, there was a ban on dancing in Washington DC. And immediately it came out and it was like, oh my God, it's like Beaumont, Missouri and DC right now. Like nobody can dance. And they, of course, they like found all these like millennials and like Generation Z kids that were getting married. And they're like, we can't even dance at our own wedding. Oh my God, everything is ruined. And I was like, okay, yeah, because the dance police are going to break down the door and be like, no. I think that this song is really cool. I like all the texturing. I feel like the synth line is, there's no way for me to know this, but it sounds like it's somebody's voice reversed, put into a synthesizer.
It very well could be. He does a lot of that on this record.
Okay. I like that sound. It sounds really cool. Anytime that you have that kind of sound, when it kind of goes against that linear motion of how like beats work, right? So you're just going like forward, 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 forward. You have that backward sound. It sounds really cool to me because you add this like texture that's, instead of going like a voice from soft to loud, it goes from loud to soft, like immediately. And that's really interesting. And it, as opposed to like having all the drum machines and synths that are like really clean and like tick, 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 having that different texture in there is really, really nice. I'm not a huge fan of dance music, so I don't know if this is something I'd listen to personally, but I like the message. I like the textures. And I think that's something I want to explore more. It's really interesting that dance music is, I kind of want to know more about dance music with regard to, like, you don't have to be in New York to be a really good, like, you know, like sometimes different forms of music just tend to be in like Los Angeles and New York are where I feel like most
I mean, you're talking like house, right? In terms of like dance music, like not like
yeah,
like LCD Sound System is kind of like a mishmash of things, and so like that can kind of happen a little more everywhere. But you're kind of talking about like a more of like a DJ sort of like, or like producer,
right? Like I feel like there tends to be places that I feel like people seem to say like, well, this is where the art grows. But if house music is in like Kentucky and there's like good producers everywhere and they're all collaborating with one another, that's pretty awesome. I like that a lot. So that's the comment that I wanted to make there.
So I think the biggest benefit this song has is its sort of its immediacy, in that I think that it was made with sound clips made recently, so it feels like it's very relevant. It feels very sort of like cutting edge in that way, and I feel like a lot of the tools are very accessible. I feel like a lot of kind of like Sean was kind of saying, is like I feel like the way to make like this sort of music has been I don't want to say like it's been made more approachable in a lot of different ways. There's been lots of tools that I think have been made a lot easier over the past few years, and so I feel like you're able to kind of sort of like take these clips and you're able just to bang them out as quickly as possible. And so what I think is interesting about this, and sort of like its strength is also its weakness, is that I think that this as you said, like these are all like sort of like sound clips of conversations he's had, and then made into a bunch, like into a whole album of that. So like in a sense that it's not necessarily focusing on the hook, it's not really focusing necessarily so much on like necessarily a very strong, like iconic like chorus or like certain part of that. It's sort of like the experience of listening to these sound clips and hearing them remixed and then sort of like made into an interesting dance beat. And so I think that in itself, I think is a pretty novel idea and definitely worth like celebrating as an idea. So I will say that like, yeah, I think that, maybe the whole album together, probably pretty listenable and pretty seamless through. But I will say that like kind of like just listening to it on like isolated feels a little lacking. It does. It's just, but I think that's also sort of house music in a way that it's just sort of a vibe. You're just kind of hanging out. You're just chilling. And so like you're kind of meant to kind of mash this into another song, be like an in and out. And so I don't know. I just feel like, I think it's definitely a cool idea. I like it. I think it works great for this challenge specifically because it is literally about the thing we're talking about. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think to your point, like this is. I'm very bad with dance music genres, but I would place this like somewhere between trance and house. And
yeah, I feel yeah, that makes sense.
And I feel like both of those are like best listened to in long format. And so on the album, this is the very last track. And so you're hearing vocal samples that you've become familiar with by repetition throughout the album. But like you said, if you're not hearing it in that context, or you're not hearing it as part of a set at a club, then yeah, I can see how it wouldn't work. I just had like a day or a night, I don't remember when I listened to this for the first time, where like I listened to the whole album in one sitting, and to finish with this felt like super cathartic. And so I do think you're right that like, and to Sean's point, one of the hardest parts about this style of music is like, it demands to be listened to in either a concentrated setting or in a concentrated space. And if you don't have that at your disposal, it makes it very hard to listen to. And I think that's part of why I'm coming back to it right now, is that I'm excited to have those opportunities again. I'm excited to be, at an event where this kind of music is like meant to be played. Because as much as I like am typically not a club person, that just feels like such a novel experience right now that I'm like, I'm in, I'm ready. Maybe not tomorrow, give me a few weeks, but I'm pumped. I'm ready to be in a space where the music is so loud I can't hear myself think. Like, I need to dance out a lot of this rage.
Oh man, yeah, exactly like that kind of stuff that like Grace does. Like just like real DJing, really like, oh man, so loud. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I would kill for that right now. Let's go.
All right, and with that, it's time for notable B-sides. Does anybody have any B-sides this week?
I pretty much shot from the hip. The whole Actual Life album is really good. People should listen to it, but this is by far the standalone.
I was looking for something that was going to be dreamwave, bedroom poppy kind of thing, and somehow I ended up on Depeche Mode. I don't really remember who else was in there that I even considered. And I don't know why. I feel like once I heard Personal Jesus from Depeche Mode, I was like, yes, that's the one. I didn't look back, but just going to go with that tonight.
So, my B-sides were Stay Useless by Cloud Nothings and Feel the Way I Want by Caroline Rose. She's gonna get back. She's coming back, baby. One of these days.
Well, Tyler, if people want to meet up with you out in the real world, where can they do that?
Private design illustration work at rudepets.club. And as always, you can find me on socials as Rudepets Club on Instagram and Twitter. Every time I'm...
Sean, once you're through your 2-week waiting period, where can people find you?
Oh, man. Probably at the beer garden down in Roslyn. I forget what it's called. We'll go there. Meet me there. I'll be there. It's awesome. The bodyguard, I shouldn't say the bodyguard, but the bouncer at the gate 2 years ago saw me drumming to a Foo Fighters song just on a table with my fingers. And he just comes up to me and he goes, "You're definitely a drummer. There's nobody who's on beat like that. What kind of kit do you play?" And it made me so sad that I don't have a kit anymore. But just the fact that he saw me from like across a patio do that and said something to me made me feel really good. So go check them out. Continental Beer Garden. That's what it is. They're amazing. Go down there, get some food. The hot pretzels are amazing. Taylor might find out.
And if you know where all the hottest parties are and you want to tell me about them so I can probably bail at the last minute, but I'll think about going, you can find me on the socials at TC Olmstead, and you can find all these songs on the official No Repeat podcast playlist on Apple Music and Spotify. We'll be back next week with another episode of No Repeat.